Good morning. Today we are talking about something that I'm incredibly passionate about, and that is not just longevity, how long we live on the earth, but really health span. And I've for the last Kaia Retreat, we had my sister, Dr. Aimee, come in and talk about what we have launching for Kaia, which is like what's the future of fitness. And what I really believe is looking at each and every person from the inside out and not looking about how many years that we can be on this planet per se, but doing these 5 tips or tricks, or not tricks, just like lifestyle habits will create a longer life naturally. But what we really are interested in is the health span, is how healthy you are for the time that you start on this earth and all the way to the very finish. So studies show that the last 9 years of our life here on the earth for the typical person is plagued with disease and hardship and really quite hard. And my passion in this life is not about just fitness. It is about like living wholly, living as healthy as we possibly can. And yes, of course, there's going to be like one-offs and things that we're going to have to deal with, injuries and disease and things like that. But in general, if we can really work together to understand what's going on the inside of you, what's going on inside here, and then make a plan that helps you be as healthy as possible. So, as I said, a lot of my notes came from Dr. Aimee's presentation at our Kaia Retreat, and we are together creating something that's launching in January 2023 that's going to rock the world of not just fitness, but just rock our world, my world, your world for sure. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek here, but it's really talking about longevity and understanding what's going on in your DNA, understanding what's going on in your blood, and then working from there. A couple other books that I'm referring to through this really short, quick talk is Blue Zone. Dr. Sinclair is amazing. His book Lifespan, and then Rich Roll is another one on his podcast. If you just Google Rich Roll and longevity, you can get a longer version of kind of what I'm going to give you right here. So, aging to me is a journey and it's an adventure. And it's also a perspective. And it can be this like, as we age, we get wise. As we age, we look for new information that we can share to the generations that are coming up behind us, that we're looking to become wise. And or right, you can get stuck in your ways. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. So there's two kind of like ways of thinking with that. Same thing with activity and exercise and trying things new. We can take, I actually this morning, it was so cute. I asked my mom if I could post it, but she posted a video of Phil, and they're both 70, 71, and I think they're both 71 now. Phil doing a monkey flip on the rings in a park. And it was so cute because he's like, yeah, and it gets his legs up and he like flips himself over and they're like, yay. And like, so I think like aging is such a perspective of sometimes we can say, oh no, I'm not going to try new adventures. I'm too old for that. Right. Or I can, oh, this is something that's like, out of my age parameter. But then, or as we age, we can search for new, exciting things in our lives. Like sometimes we have a little bit more time. Sometimes, like maybe your younger years, as mine, were not super healthy because I was holding on to dear life with 3 jobs and a single mom and trying to just like barely sleep and whatever, eat too much, eat too little. I was all over the place. So this is more an opportunity as I age to get better with life, to open up to new perspectives. And as we, hopefully get into a stage of life where we're not just go, 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 that we can look up and say, hey, I want to travel. I want to hike. I want to go jump in the lake. I want to do these things that create this journey, this sense of adventure compared to that like lack mindset. So first and foremost is, how do you want to age? We all age, right? But we can age in a way that feels exciting, and that we can create this journey and this adventure that we're going to do together and get better and better and better. And you do not have to live the last 9 years in pain, in suffering, but we do have to put the work in now. We have to get tough with ourselves and say, this is important for me to be healthy, happy. So the 5 things I'm going to go over today are food, exercise, family, friends, service, sleep. And it is like in Blue Zone, it's the where he studies the longest lived people in the world, that one of the most important things that he says is food, and that how we eat, that we don't eat too much, that we practice like simplicity in our foods. That so the things that he goes over is, most of the people in the Blue Zone, they eat mainly plant-based. They eat and they take not expensive food, really inexpensive food that's very traditional to them, and they make it in different ways. They eat a lot of legumes, they eat a lot of whole grains, tons of vegetables, lots of like water, liquids, fruits, and all of these like natural foods, but they put it together in really simple ways. So, like as Dr. Aimee said in our presentation, it doesn't have to be these $40 superfoods. It can be very, very simple foods, and should be, that are recipes that you can create that are delicious. Like, you're not going to, if you go on like a diet and you're like, I can't eat another kale salad, we're doing it wrong. So creating delicious ways to present plant-based meals that make us feel nourished. Another thing is fasting, and it's tricky with fasting with women, because you don't want to fast too long because it can mess up our hormones. But it's really important that we don't eat too much, and that as you have like a big, nice breakfast, a beautiful lunch, and a very small dinner, and then stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. So having like for the longest lived people in the world have about an 8 hour eating window. So thinking about that in like settling down earlier, they tend to have a prayer or a statement before they eat their meal. When I was like reading Blue Zone, I was like cracking up because this lady is in Japan. She's, I think, 107, and she does this little prayer before she eats. And they said, what does that prayer mean? What is it? What are you saying? And she said, I pray that I don't eat too much. And I was like, oh my gosh, at 110, if I have to pray that I don't eat too much, like, shouldn't that just be like the way she's living? But it is important for us to understand the importance of stop eating when we're 80% full, not gorging ourselves, because that causes more havoc in our hormones. That causes more havoc than that like extended fasting. I also think fasting is important to let go of habits that are really hard on us. So I get in a easy habit of drinking coffee. That's something that is really, really hard for me to let go of. And so I'm going to do a 5-day fast, which is, it's called Prolong. I can send you guys the link. But and to help me like get through that like miserable journey of quitting coffee. It's the same thing with like junk food, with sugar, with processed foods, with alcohol. Sometimes it really helps to go on a fast to eliminate those habits, see how good you feel without it, and then move forward with confidence, because it's a human condition to have habits. And sometimes those habits can be negative and be really, really hard to break. So that's one thing that I also like about fasting. So saying a prayer before your meal, giving thanks to what it is that you're eating. And then, like the Japanese prayer is just saying like, hey, help me not eat too much, because it is a state of abundance in our present world that we have. More people now die of overeating than starvation. And it is something that we do need to take serious. Another thing with eating and food is the people who live the longest in this world tend to eat with family or friends. They tend to have little or no electronics, so not music, not phones, not they eat like so. And that's something I practice when I'm by myself as well, because a lot of meals I eat by myself. So I'll just turn everything off, because if I don't, I'll work right through my breakfast, I'll work right through my lunch, and I won't even realize that I ate, let alone give thanks for it. So for me, that's something that I have to continually go back to, is shut everything off, put it out of wherever I'm eating, whether it's at the office or in the kitchen or in my, wherever that is, and then remind myself to give thanks, and then eat slowly and understand the power that my food has. And then last but not least is they tend not to go out to eat very much. So they tend to make food at home, and that there's not a lot of going out to eat, because going out to eat, restaurants are yummy. And the reason why they're yummy is because they put a lot of sugar, fat, salt in our food. Otherwise, we would yelp them and say, not so good. So just remembering to eat at home more often. So number one is food. I'm going to fly through the rest because I think we know this, but when we're thinking about longevity, and this is something that we're going to put together for you. So hold on, please message me if you want to get on the list. We're only going to pilot 25 people in our new Kaia Precision Wellness, but it's understanding what's going on the inside. So it's preventative wellness. It's not going to the doctor when you're sick. It's seeing what's happening on the inside, what's going on with your lipids, what's going on with your cholesterol, what's going on with your DNA, as far as like precursors for heart disease, precursors for Alzheimer's, and then we can prescribe whatever it is that you really need individually. So it's not, everybody shouldn't be taking vitamin D. Some people are fine with vitamin D. A lot of people aren't, right? But we need to know where you are. So it is really understanding where you sit in your hormones, where you sit in all of these markers in your body, and then working with a healthcare team like us, or hopefully you find somebody amazing if you don't choose to work with us, that will really not just look at your fitness, nutrition, and community and results, but add in this like preventative wellness to make sure that you're getting the foods that you need, the mental health that you need. Like a lot of us just need a lot more hugs and more like good relationships and therapy and talking and things like that, but really like an all-encompassing healthcare team for you. Friends and family is like, be a hunter of good people. And when you find good people in your life, pour into them. We're all busy. It's hard to commit time to go to coffee and to whatever, like go for hikes or walks or things like that. But the longest lived people have really good social networks, really good church, really good like this, like our Kaia workouts or friendships. And so be on the lookout for a group that not just makes you feel welcome right away, because human beings tend not to feel welcome right away, but that you like what they're doing, and invite yourself to the party. Like, be an active participant in inviting yourself to be part of a cool group or friends. Like, don't wait for somebody to invite you, because all people tend to think about is themselves. They love you, they want you to be part of it, but they don't think about you. Everybody thinks about themselves. So like Coral always tells me, like we just went on this, my daughter Coral, we just went on this like business trip, and she's like, Mom, we have to invite ourselves to the party. Like, you have to get out there and like, network and be with people. And so that's my advice to you, is invite yourself to the party that you want to be in. Find friends, find a gritty group of humans, and make the drive. Like, be there. It doesn't matter if it takes you an hour to get there every Sunday or Saturday or one day a week. Invite yourself and be a part of that. Service is incredibly important is so often we think about like retiring and going to the beach and retiring and like, oh, I get to hike more, I get to do this. But people who live the longest really want to help the future generations. They really want to take traditions that feel like that they don't want to disappear in this world and teach, taking the time to whatever it is, just in your community, give back, in your family, give back. Like instead of just rushing through every day, hey, did you do your homework? Get home from work? How'd you sleep? Like this kind of thing. Stop for a second and say, like, how can I really be in service of the people that I'm around? And what do I want to teach them? And what can I learn from them? Can I journal more? And this is all like things that are really, really important because as we know, depression is on the rise, anxiety is on the rise, suicide's on the rise. We need to be brave. We need to get out there and say, who needs us? And what do we have to give? Sleep, 1 out of 3 people are sleep deprived. And that's kind of me sometimes, to be honest with you. I try really hard to get like 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Um, but it's tricky because life gets busy in the morning. And if I don't get to bed early, it's hard. But I know for sure that when you don't sleep, you wreck your hormones, you wreck your telomeres. Like, but also sometimes I think we overthink it too. So I'm going to flip that on its head as well. Like, we're meant to sleep. Like, I'm not going to like overthink all of this stuff. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to prioritize turning off electronics. I'm going to prioritize making my sleep as optimal as possible, but I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to get in bed and I don't care if I don't sleep. I'm going to be in bed for 8 hours or 7 hours is typically what fits into my life, but I like 8 hours. And if I don't sleep, I don't sleep. It's no big deal. Like you're meditating, you're relaxing, you're like in the zone of like your comfiness, and all that counts as well. So sleep, and then exercise. You have to exercise every day. I have to exercise every day. We have to move our body. The people who live the longest, they garden. They get up every 20 minutes and move. They look for opportunities to walk more. And exercise is not just your 1 hour class; it's movement through the day. Okay, you guys, I hope this was helpful. I love you very much. Thank you for being on. So again, the top 5 is your food, is getting a healthcare team. It doesn't have to be, uh, it doesn't have to be so separate. So I want your fitness, your nutrition, your community, your labs, your everything to be under one roof. So we're all working together to support you as an individual human, making sure that we are inviting ourselves to the party when it comes to family and friends, being in service. What do you have that you can help other people? It doesn't have to be earth changing. You don't have to go out of the country. You can say, what do I want to teach the people that I love? What can I learn from the people I love? Being in service, picking up trash when you're going for a walk, giving somebody a smile or a hug that is like in need. Service comes in many different ways. It does not have to be these big, overwhelming things. Sleep, my friends. Let's all just like lay our head down and sleep, not overthink it. Don't talk about the lack of sleep, just do it. And then exercise, move our bodies every day. I hope you guys work out with me at 9 o'clock every Friday, but we have live stream classes. You can, there's a zillion ways to move our body these days, but setting your alarm for about every 20 minutes as you work, just stand up and do a couple squats, do some mobility work, do a couple like forward folds, moving our body more often, walk just one lap around the building. You're going to come back, you're going to be more productive, and you're going to live longer. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I hope I see you guys at my workout or wherever in life. Please give me your feedback, and I'll see you soon. Bye.